This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I had Justin play that.
Too soon. Paul Manafort, you're piling on. Poor Paul Manafort.
Well, he surrendered to the FBI field office this morning.
Yes, he did.
Washington, D.C., so it's appropriate.
And a former business associate at his Gates has also apparently been indicted. Quickly, though, one sports note, local.
Oh, yes.
I know that you're still reeling from the fact that the Astros outscored the Bears yesterday, but Zach Miller had surgery yesterday to save his leg, that dislocated knee.
Oh, that play was disgusting.
It was. He needed emergency surgery to repair a damaged artery in his leg. So it was more significant than just a regular dislocation. So hopefully, even though he's obviously out for the season, he'll be able to get back to full strength. But just wanted to report on Zach Miller. That was a horrific injury. All right. So getting back to politics and the politics of Russian collusion. Of course, the announcement, much anticipated, it was all the buzz on the Sunday talkies, who was going to be indicted and the implications of said indictment. And again, about an hour ago, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, charged in the Russia probe. That's how it's being covered. But the charges could be unrelated to anything having to do with the 2016 election cycle and be more related to Paul Manafort's business practices prior to being associated with the Trump campaign. For more on this topic, dossier, politics, and everything else, we're pleased to be joined by Michael Barone, senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner. Michael, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's nice to be with you.
So the implications of this not unanticipated indictment, since the feds raided his house a few weeks ago, is kind of saw where this was going, but this will give the press an opportunity to continue pushing their Russian collusion narrative towards Trump, right?
Well, they're certainly going to try to do so. It doesn't look like this indictment of Manafort has anything to do with his activities during connection with the Trump campaign. He's been known to be a lobbyist and a political advisor. I was going to say political fixer for people in the Ukraine government that were allied with Russia. He made a lot of money at that. Maybe, the ordinary prosecutors haven't properly prosecuted him for non-reporting of that. We'll see how that pans out. We do know something about collusion with Russia, and that's that the Fusion GPS firm colluded with Russia's secret service and provided something that the Clinton campaign, Democratic Party, paid something like $9 million for in the 2016 campaign. Whether or not Mr. Mueller is going after that, I don't know.
Well, is that collusion or just politics as usual to have opposition research? I mean, what could the Clintons be charged with?
Well, the answer is it probably is just, on the face of it, it's opposition research. I mean, the Democratic Party has made such a, Trump is colluding with Russia. They never had many problems about resetting things with Russia before. I think that a lot of that was just theater and an attempt to delegitimize the Trump campaign, the Trump presidency. But the fact is that this whole Manchurian candidate scenario seems to have exactly zero support of any kind. I've been listening to a lot of Democrats gleefully saying, the Russians put Trump in the White House, they control it. There's zero evidence of that. Clinging to this is pretty pathetic at this stage.
As a journalist yourself for the Washington Examiner and an analyst, what is your reaction to the revelation over the weekend that the Washington Free Beacon also had retained Fusion GPS, not to produce the dossier that ultimately got produced, but according to the editor there, to do some opposition research on Trump and other candidates? The propriety of a media outlet hiring a firm like Fusion GPS to do opposition research on candidates, does that strike you as problematic in any way?
No, I don't think opposition research per se is problematic or something evil. There's nothing wrong with investigating public records and things of that nature and trying to find out more information. That's sort of what the press kind of does or is supposed to do. I'm a little surprised by the fact that Washington Free Beacon hired a firm that seems to be at least tilting towards the Democrats and its clientele. You usually see, in partisan politics, Republicans hiring Republican-oriented firms, Democrats hiring Democratic-oriented firms. Sometimes you see a crossing of the line in that regard, and there's nothing illegitimate about that. But I found it a little surprising that the Free Beacon was involved in this, and surprising perhaps that they didn't reveal it earlier. But it doesn't change my overall view that I don't see that there's somehow a collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. The Free Beacon certainly wasn't for nominating Trump, and by the accounts that we have, the so-called Steele dossier only starts to exist when the Fusion GPS is working for the Democrats.
And we're getting some breaking news here. Manafort and Gates both charged with conspiracy to launder money. That's according to CNN. They just said that. But back to the Steele dossier. Isn't some information in the Steele dossier false or fictitious?
Well, it certainly has been alleged to be fictitious. It's been dismissed by just about everybody, at least some of the items in there, as being ridiculous. It claims that lawyer Michael Cohen, who's done a lot of work for Donald Trump, met with a Russian agent in Prague in the Czech Republic. It appears that Mr. Cohen has never been in the Czech Republic ever. That was a little bit of an oops there, and it suggests that a lot of this stuff may be Russian disinformation or something that was simply cooked up out of somebody's imagination.
So over the weekend, Trump tweeting with more of the revelations about the dossier, the financing of it, the misinformation, if not outright lying by Podesta before a Senate Intel Committee with Mark Elias, the Clinton lawyer sitting right next to him, the Clinton lawyer who orchestrated the financing of this Trump dossier. In addition to the concerns about the Uranium One deal, and was that a pay-to-play scheme initiated by the Clintons that included Hillary while she was Secretary of State, and he's imploring essentially Republicans to do something. What is it that Republicans can and should do?
Well, I think, you have investigations going on in the House and Devin Nunes' Intelligence Committee. You have Trey Gowdy, the very able congressman from South Carolina, is doing, is in a position to do some investigations there as well. And I think that's something they should be doing. It's worthy of being done. And it's interesting that the Democrats who hired the Democratic lawyer who hired the Fusion GPS thing didn't see fit to reveal this when supposedly the whole world was concerned about Russian collusion. Well, he was doing something that people might very well think is Russian collusion himself, and he doesn't seem to have come forward with information at that time.
You've had over the last several days, the Wall Street Journal editorial board opined that Mueller should step down because he's conflicted because of his time at FBI, his relationship with Comey. Other op-ed writers like Michael Goodwin over at the New York Post have suggested the same. While Trey Gowdy has given him a bit of a vote of confidence, at least at this stage, where do you come down on Mueller's ability to fairly pursue these investigations wherever they may lead?
Well, I come down against special prosecutors generally. I think that the special prosecutor law that was passed back in the 1970s was a fiasco, and I first came to that conclusion when under the terms of that law, there was an investigation of President Carter's top aide, Hamilton Jordan.
Yeah.
So that's more than 30 years ago, and I don't think we should have these people that have an unlimited access and are not, accountable to a responsible officer of government.
No, Paul Manafort was.
So I'm not for any special prosecutors, and Paul Manafort's money laundering problems presumably go back a long time before the Trump campaign.
Sorry for interrupting. Paul Manafort worked with President Trump for 3 months, or June, July, and August of 2016. Do you think President Trump should have properly vetted him before bringing him on his team? I mean, he had already had a long-standing investigation due to his past dealings in Ukraine several years before that. So should he have separated or not have already had him on his team to begin with?
Well, I thought he was a fishy appointment, and I wouldn't have made the appointment. But President Trump and candidate Trump never sought any advice from me on appointments.
Yes.
Council
of one.
He has any
there.
plans to do so in the future.
Right. But I mean, but the point that Amy's highlighting is that he's got to be accountable for that decision. And when former senior campaign aide gets indicted, that's never a good occurrence.
I think that's a point. That's a fair point. I think that given Manafort's role in the lobbying business and the connections he had in Eastern Europe, the former Soviet Union, I would never have hired him. I gather he was there to kind of manage the convention, which he did a fairly good job of. But
right.
I wouldn't have made that hire. No.
He is Michael Barone, senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Michael, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, good to be with you in Chicago. Thanks. Bye-bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show